Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Steps Basic, and with me, as always, is my illustrious co-host.
Babbling Ninja 720. How's it going, folks?
And welcome back to the Babbling Bears podcast. This week, we have a interesting topic, probably one that's going to tie into a later discussion I'm going to have with us regarding our likes and our dislikes of each of the individual genre. Now, for those of you that don't know,
In terms of entertainment.
right. Now, for those of you that don't know, genre, unlike what most people will say, like when regarding video games, is like first-person shooter and stuff like that. That's not what genre is. That's just a type. A genre is actually the defining characteristics of the story, i.e., horror, romance, action, adventure, excitement.
Well,
Stuff like
comedy slash thriller.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
And I figured just to keep it somewhat simple, we wouldn't branch into like subgenre of things. Like we won't say urban fantasy. We'll just talk about like fantasy in general. Ooh. But of course, if one of the things you like about fantasy is the urban fantasy aspect, then that of course will work.
Well, I'm going to start off with a question. What is your favorite genre of all?
Oh, the toughest of all questions. I have to say, the ones I get the most enjoyment out of, I would have to say, is horror. But they can also go really wrong with horror. Because there's always a lot of psychological... I mean, for one thing, my favorite type of horror is psychological horror. And there's a lot of depth to the psychology of human fear. And, well, among most of the things I watch, the things that get my brain working the most is horror stuff, because I like to think about lots of different angles and whatnot. Like, how is this going to affect this person? What sorts of paths to the murders are we going to take? And that sort of stuff. And, of course, the obvious practicalities of certain things. I like to think, even my brother and I, we actually sit there and discuss certain things, like how practical certain monster stories could be.
So, did you enjoy the Saw series?
For a little while.
Until it got redundant?
Yeah, until it became heavily repetitive, and I was like, ugh, come on. Then I just kind of... just wasn't.
Then you saw it for what it was. Basically, it became just, hey, cash grab, franchise.
Yeah, it's like the first couple of them were like, the first one was like, interesting. I like this. It's told from an inside out perspective, all sorts of, different twists and turns. And then second one was like, this is pretty similar to the last one I watched, but it's still pretty good. And then after that, I'm like, so we're doing this again, huh?
I would lead that into one of the negatives for me in terms of genres. Especially, well, this encompasses a lot of pretty much all the genres. Is when they see something like that, let's say the Saw series, and all they see are the dollar signs.
Mm-hmm.
So they milk it until it's way past dry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would actually lead me to discuss a little bit of what my second favorite genre is, which is sci-fi. But as far as horror is concerned, I do have to say that my favorites are always, the psychological aspect of horror and whatnot and how it applies. But I say the things I don't like are how badly cliches can play into it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's the obvious ones like, the buxom blonde who runs upstairs instead of out the door sort of thing. I'm not a big fan of those types of stuff. And then
the damsel in distress.
Yeah, and to some degree that can work, but with me, a horror story can never end happy. And if a horror story ends happy, then it's not a horror story.
Yeah, that's what made the remake for Dawn of the Dead back, what was it, 2001?
Mm-hmm.
That's what got me cheering at the end of that one was
Hmm.
the way it ended.
Yeah. No happiness. And it may sound a little sick and twisted of me, but I really don't think that horror should ever end happy. Because that's literally what it is. It's horror.
Yeah. It's supposed to be nightmarescape.
Yeah. One good example of one of the cliches that tends to play too much is the monster is too expected, you know? Like
Yeah.
you get your opportunity here where you get your when you start out a horror story really well, then for the longest time you don't actually know much of what anything is going on, and this is only, of course, if it's done really well. Then you don't see the monster right away, and so your mind fills in the blanks and whatnot. And because of how much I invest my time into watching horror and taking in horror, is sometimes I can more or less pick out what the monster's going to be before I even get a chance to see it. And
Yeah.
I know it's kind of hard to fully, you know, engross yourself into figuring out new monsters, but after a while, it's just that sometimes it just gets to be like, this again, huh? Oh, it's just a big masked man with a big machete. Okay.
Or
Oh,
a
the monster's
claw
got
glove.
3 heads this time. Woo. That is the unfortunate part is, you know, after a while, the horror genre becomes a bit stale because there's only so many different ways you can tell the same story.
Yeah. I'm gonna segue on that
Nice.
topic with it stagnating, like you were saying, with being stale and all that other jazz.
Hmm.
Part of that reasoning is there's too much emphasis on the copyright protection.
Yeah.
You know, the people come up with these crazy, awesome fan fiction and stuff like that. What happens? They get slammed with a cease and desist, or it's, hey, guess what? You're copywriting. We're gonna basically throw you in the court until you're poor.
Hmm. Doesn't matter if you're in the
Instead of
right.
what they, yeah, well, what they should do is if it's something that they see a lot of people like clamoring about, they should pick that person up, give them a job, and have them like head a movie of their own or something.
Yeah. I mean, especially with the Star Wars fandom, I think that's something that, sorry, Star Trek fandom, that's something I've always felt like there's so many
Uh-oh.
good I know. I've been doing that so much lately. I've done it like 3 times this week alone. I'm going to get stabbed by all of them. But that's one thing I've always said about the Star Trek fandom is there are so many inventive, fan fiction writers out there, and sometimes they work with them. But recently, especially with the advent of CBS and Star Wars or Star Trek Discovery, they have been really hard on breaking down any Star Trek writers who aren't officially Star Trek writers. Which is funny because there's a topic for another show. I don't know if you heard about the lawsuit that Star Trek Discovery's been hit with.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, they essentially they stole the characters and story ideas from an indie Steam game.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, but they won the lawsuit at first, and then it's been appealed, or at least they're working on an appeal. I'm not really sure exactly whether or not it's happened yet or not,
Uh-huh.
because I kind of haven't been following it. But it caught my eye at one point that they had stolen some of the not only the character designs and whatnot, but some of the more key plot points. Just from what I've seen, of course. I know that the judge ruled in their favor in the first case, saying that it was basically that they weren't stealing ideas, they were using common tropes.
Of course, if it was the other way around, a big corporation and indie was quote-unquote copywriting, they would have gotten smashed into the ground.
Oh, yeah. CBS would have destroyed them. It was kind of funny, though, because reading up on some of that lawsuit, I found out that they actually did threaten a countersuit against the indie game developer about that.
Huh. Wonder what stopped them.
I'd say it would probably be the timeline. His game was out before Discovery was. Hi, sheep.
All right. Some more negative tropes I've noticed with the horror genre, even though it's one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of the movies nowadays, they're really dark. You can barely tell what's actually going on in the movie.
Yeah.
And it usually pertains to the horror aspect mostly.
Mm-hmm.
It's to add the extra suspense of, oh, what's happening? You can't see what's happening, so you think the worst.
Yeah.
And it also sets up the other annoying thing, the jump scare.
The fart joke.
Overabundance of them.
The fart joke of the horror
much.
genre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To put it nicely.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand, like, to a certain degree, darkness being useful, but, like, I've seen a few that were dark-centric stories that are supposed to be set in the dark, but, you know, the whole green overlay for night vision and everything so that we, the viewer, can still enjoy what we're supposed to be watching.
Yeah.
But it's like one of those things, it just kind of really drags you out of it.
What was that one? I think it was like Alien versus Predator was one that recently got bashed for that.
Yeah.
Over, 80% of the movie is pitch black.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if that was the original AVP or
I think it was the
sequel, because the sequel was really bad. I mean, not just in terms of the darkness, but also in terms of just being a really bad movie.
Well, that goes back to our early thing where they smelled money, so they decided to try to stretch that franchise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Some stuff I really like about the horror stuff, though, is I really love just being lost in these worlds and seeing how well a person can craft their stories. And, you know, being a horror writer myself, he says with a haughty attitude, it's kind of interesting to see the sort of ways other people can take those ideas and make them, you know, into a decent story.
I'd have to say my favorite aspect of the horror genre would have to be like you said, the psychological portion, but for me, it's the way the characters, I'd say, cope with the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Try to resolve it. Either try to resolve it or try to exacerbate it, or just completely break down.
Depending on which character it is, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's another thing I kind of like and kind of hate about horror stuff is picking out which character is which for this one. Like,
yeah,
which one's going to be the one that makes it to the end of the movie? Which one's going to be the butthead that gets everyone killed? Which one's going to be the wimp who doesn't know what they're doing and ends up getting killed or getting somebody else killed?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always fun. Yeah, I love the psychological stuff, though, because it's just so much open to the imagination, you know?
Yeah.
One of my favorite movies is actually one I don't really understand too much, which was called Mulholland Drive.
I've never seen that one.
Psychological. don't really know much of what's going on in the entire story. I've watched it like 4 times, and I still don't have a clear grasp on everything. But the imagery, the disjointed nature of it, the underlying theme being drug usage and whatnot, really kind of played well with the fact that you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And so, the fact that things were a bit psychotic throughout the movie just really helped. It really helped the fact that you didn't know what you were watching. But it was still a pretty interesting one, even without knowing much about what it was.
Yeah. I'd have to say, I like the original Saw movie. Like, well, I'll say Saw was 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
And funny thing with that one, the first one, I got to see that the first time. I was over a friend's house. We had like Halloween parties and stuff like that
Cool.
back there in high school days. And we decided to have like a communal like movie night. And of course it was a Saw movie.
Mm-hmm.
And they just pretty much was like, I kind of was like a little intrigued, but at the same time I was like, I don't really want to watch a movie right now, kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
So I was like out of it. So I guess they got a little upset with, how I was not really into it per se, even though I did like the movie. And they just got into the thing where they're like, it's a really good movie, and they're just, basically it just boils down. They tried to get me to guess who the killer was, per se, like the bad guy, and I was like, spoilers, but this movie's old as dirt.
Yeah.
It's the guy in the middle of the room, and there's like 3 other people in the room with us. I was like, I haven't even seen the movie yet. Thanks for spoiling it for me. And I was like, I've never seen this movie either, so I didn't even know I was right. I really just set it off of a whim to see you'd shut up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's one of the fun parts about horror too, is not just figuring out who the killer is, but it's like I'll sit there and I'll be like, okay, so who's the killer in this situation? And I'm like, okay, what kind of horror show are we talking about? Is this
Guess that motive.
Is it a psychological? Are we playing a slasher movie? Are we watching a monster type of movie? It's like, oh, it's psychological. Like, oh yeah, the middle guy. Oh, it's a slasher movie. Yeah, probably the middle guy. It's a monster movie. Oh, well, you can't see the monster. He's invisible.
Say another good one. Well, for me, the American Psycho.
That one was interesting.
The Christian Bale one.
Yeah. Now, how about non-conventional horror movies? Now, those are interesting, too.
Describe that one.
Well, like, if you take the idea of horror expanded to more than just, what's more typical considered psychological and or, I'd say probably would be more considered thriller-type movies than actual horror. I'm not even really sure, but it's like more of a, like they lean really heavy on the psychological part and just kind of avoid the horror aspect, but through your own devising you can understand more of the horror about the movie than maybe even the developers or filmers and whatnot would have known was there.
So, would you justify Sixth Sense being kind of like that?
Yeah. Because there's definitely
that one then.
There's definitely a deeper element of horror there that you may not understand. Like from first viewing, it's like this child is far more damaged than you could ever hope to imagine because of the fact that he sees dead people.
Yeah, twist ending was really good too.
Yeah. I mean, much to a lot of the universe's chagrin at the moment, I actually like most of Shyamalan's stuff.
Well, I like his early, like, when he was on the fast track to being, like, the crazy good, renowned director, producer, kind of set up and then precipitous drop,
Yeah. I
as
think
Danny put it.
I think his thing might have been that he got a little too carried away, and so he thought everything needed a fancy twist. I actually haven't seen his newest ones. I haven't seen yet.
Or just has to completely bastardize things, like Avatar.
Oh, he should never have laid his hands on that one. I mean,
No,
as much as I like his stuff, he really should never have touched that one. I mean
he should have played hot potato with that one and said, "Not it."
that wasn't even in his wheelhouse. I don't know why he was doing that. Oh,
He's. I'd say that he saw something that was big with had a large following and wanted to try and see if he could, catch some waves with that. But he caught some waves, not
yeah,
not good waves, but
yeah, not good ones.
he got some waves.
Ah,
Ooh boy.
ah.
Let's do comedy.
Ooh, comedy. Comedy's fun.
Oh yes.
Oh, so let's see. Comedy. My favorite aspects of comedy. I like deadpan.
Deadpan.
Deadpan is like my favorite comedy. But
Extrapolate. What is deadpan?
it's kind of like you see somebody delivering a joke, but in a completely, oh my god, this was the funniest thing ever sort of way. A good example.
Describe a movie.
Wow. See if I can describe a movie with a deadpan perspective. I mostly see it in, like, a good example might be Mitch Hedberg. His form of comedy, like I just got a PlayStation 4 for my girlfriend. It's the best trade I ever made.
Okay, yeah, all right. That wasn't bad.
I just got assaulted on the street. Some guy threw a gallon of milk at me. How dare he?
Okay, dad jokes. Okay, all right.
It doesn't even need to have the pun aspect to it, but puns work really well with it.
Okay.
Because
Yeah, I kind of figured that was going to be your favorite.
yeah, because puns are a lot in the delivery. A lot of British comedy has a lot of more of the dry, deadpan humor to it. But on the other hand, on the direct opposite end of the scale, I'm not really too much of a fan of crass humor.
Is that like poop jokes and stuff like that?
Poop jokes, naked jokes, sexy jokes. Not really a big fan of those.
I when they're tasteful and not overdone, I can enjoy them.
Yeah. Like,
But when people get the little sniff of a laugh and then they decide to keep running with it, and
yeah.
they pretty much beat the dead horse,
Hmm.
I'm like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah. I like some of, I like a lot of, the Kevin Smith stuff, but he has a lot of that crass humor in there. But it's also wrapped around a package of pretty good storytelling as well. So it's like I'll hear a crass joke and I'll be like, that's funny. And I won't have to worry about hearing 5 billion retakes of the same joke.
I'd have to say my example would be Game Grumps.
Hmm.
I mean, I like Game Grumps, but unfortunately they have a nasty habit of trying to fill in dead air with just random,
Hmm.
just crassness. And that's when I find myself skipping,
Yeah. Moving
past.
on.
Sometimes I end up skipping like whole videos. I'm just like,
Yeah. That's unfortunate. But, I know
yeah.
in those situations I'm not really the target audience, so I don't really expect them to change for me.
I don't expect them to change either, but it's just unfortunate.
Yeah, that was more for the benefit of the audience members who might be listening.
Yeah.
Because we live in a current time when people are like, "Oh, you're judging my comedy? How dare you?" I judge comedy.
More like I'm offended.
Yeah. How dare you?
I'm more of a stupid comedy kind of person, though.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of a guilty pleasure of mine. Because I'm usually so highbrow, right? But stupid comedy gets me.
Chris Farley, early Adam Sandler, some late Adam Sandler too. Let's see what else we got.
Freaking Adam Sandler. Oh,
Kevin Hart,
yeah. Kevin Hart.
Gabriel Iglesias.
Jeff Dunham.
Jeff Dunham runs into the problem of horribly rehashing his content. That's the whole repetition, and then I get bored with it.
Yeah. Which is not to be confused with what is known as a running gag.
Yeah.
Running gag and a callback. Those are two of my favorite types of jokes. Well, I wouldn't say running gag is a favorite type of joke, but I do like it.
Yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind every once in a while hearing a joke and then hearing it again, like in a little down the line, because I'll probably have forgotten it.
Yeah.
But
and you see in a comedy movie you're watching, and this one person is just particularly horrible at doing something, and then they have to do it again and then again, and it's like, it's running gag. But of course, at the same time, always runs into the issue of repetitive, killing the humor into it.
yeah.
But then you get the subversion of expectations. So you've seen the same joke 3 times, and you expect the same joke on the 4th time, but then the 4th time's like, nope, different joke. And then you're like, I wasn't expecting that.
What was another? Kind of like when do you watch the Joker movie that came out recently?
I haven't seen it yet.
What?
I wanted to, but then I gave my ticket to somebody else.
Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was nice of you. I can say that.
Yeah. I do nice things. It sounds so sad. I'm like, I do nice things.
Yeah.
Oh, but yes, I definitely need to see that. I can't wait until I get a chance to, because it looked really freaking good.
I'm gonna say this. I enjoyed it. Joaquin Phoenix did a really good job.
Yeah, it was funny because that one is like, I saw the first advertisements for it, and I'm like, I'm not sure how I feel about this. And
I
then,
was the exact same way. I'm like, oh my god, I do not like the way he looks. He looks actually like a real clown. He does not look like Joker at all. And then saw the movie, and I'm like, I can run with it.
Yeah, I started seeing more and more from more and more advertisements for it, and I'm like, this is actually starting to look good. I actually kind of want to see this, and then I didn't, but I'm going to eventually.
Yeah.
Still haven't seen Captain Marvel either, so I'm failing myself on so many.
I have never seen an Avengers movie other than let's see, 2 Incredible Hulk movies and maybe 1.5 Iron Man movies. Oh wait, and I saw the first Thor movie, so I'm way behind.
That's all right.
And if you want to count the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies,
they're not canon though.
No,
they're Sony, not Marvel.
Well, they're canon if you believe in multiverse theory.
This is true. I guess this moves us right along into superhero genre, because that's now a genre. It's not just
Oh,
action
wow, I didn't
adventure
know
movies
that.
anymore. Yeah, superhero is now an official genre.
Who's your favorite superhero?
Oh, Marvel, it's probably Captain America.
And milk toast. Sorry, bud.
It's all right. I've kind of flip flopped on favorite characters, favorite superheroes a lot throughout my years of enjoying superheroes. I think
Uh,
right now it's Captain America, but I've gone from Luke Cage, friggin' the Hulk, Spider Man, Wolverine, of course. It was like Wolverine at one point.
Wolverine, yeah. I had to say Marvel and probably Wolverine.
Yeah. Uh,
Oh, although now it's Deadpool. Sorry.
yeah. He's the Wolverine with a better attitude.
Yeah. Well, that begs to differ sometimes.
Yeah, I think the longest I ever had a favorite Marvel character was probably Rogue from the X-Men.
Rogue's another favorite, yeah.
Yeah.
Tragic character.
Hmm.
Gambit too. I like Gambit as well.
Yeah. But Gambit was my brother's favorite, so I couldn't like him.
He had dibs.
Yeah. Shows you how long ago that was. That was back from the cartoon show back in the 90s.
Oh yeah, where he had the Cajun accent,
Hmm.
the Raging Cajun, I think is what his nickname was.
Yep. That was a fun series.
Yeah.
As far as DC is concerned,
I was about to ask you that one because you seem kind of reluctant to speak about DC there for a minute.
I'm like really hypercritical of DC stuff. And I think it's because it tries to be more serious lately.
Well, it sees how MCU's kind of going bonkers with it and
And it's like,
getting the roundabout. And they want a piece of that pie too.
yeah, it's like my my opinions on a lot of the DC stuff have run counter to other people's opinions on it.
Counterculture.
Yeah, I'm super serious. Like, I loved the Dawn of Justice movie, and mostly because it wasn't a punch fest. Batman versus Superman. I loved it because it wasn't a hyper intense fight movie. Everybody else is
Yeah.
like, but they took so long to get to the actual Batman v Superman part. I'm like, no, fights are not always physical.
No, psychological fights too.
Hmm. And the whole movie was about them figuring out who the other person was and what made them tick and whatnot. And they both saw the other one as a bad guy, or at least a risk.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of a psychological battle in there. But much like a lot of open superhero and open-ended superhero series, it's hard for me to pick a favorite per se. But I'd say I hate the new Flash. I liked Barry Allen from the show, the CW show. I don't like the new one from the movies. But Flash was my favorite for a while, mostly because I like the idea of the super speed. But his character has morphed and altered so many times that I'm not sure if I even like the character or just the abilities. Yeah. Shazam is a very interesting character.
Did you see who's going to be playing Black Adam?
No, who's that?
Oh my God, you don't know who it is.
No. Didn't they have Black Adam in the Shazam movie?
I didn't watch that one, but they're going to be doing, from what I've seen, The Rock's going to be him.
Interesting. I mean, he kind of fits the part. He's got more hair. Black Adam's got more hair.
Wigs can fix that up.
Yeah. But I guess they're going more off of a new story arc for him for the movies this time because they're doing the shoot, what the heck was that series called? The Shazam Force or something like that. Because I haven't seen the movie yet. I saw some spoilers for it, so it's like just because I was like curious to see if this was going to be worth my time.
Who was your favorite DC character, by the way? You never got to that part.
Yeah, I'm still working up to it. I think because DC, like I said, I'm pretty hypercritical. I'd say if I'm gonna be perfectly honest with myself, it's definitely got to be Wonder Woman.
Oh wow, that I didn't expect that.
She has been a consistent character in almost every story arc she's ever been. There was a time when she was
Risque.
less than an appealing female role model, but
Due to the creator.
mm-hmm. But for the most part, she's been a pretty consistent character. She's kept who she was, tragic backstories and everything. Although it was kind of funny because watching the new movie, I was thoroughly confused, and I had one of those, what do they call them, Mandela effect situations, where I remembered vividly that Diana was freaking Ares' daughter.
Yeah.
But apparently that's never been canon, and I'm like, where did I hear that?
What was that, Justice League?
Yeah, and the new
The cartoon?
no, the new movie. I was watching that, and I was like, just waiting for the big reveal. You know, they were talking about how they were talking about the ultimate weapon and everything, and yeah, she's the ultimate weapon. I'm like, yeah, duh, because she's the daughter of a god, but they never addressed it. And I'm like, why aren't they talking about the fact that she's Ares' daughter? And so I went delving into all the fandoms everywhere. I'm like, isn't she his daughter? And then I found nothing regarding that. And I'm like, where did I remember this from?
I actually I read random trivias and stuff, and I don't know if it's true or not in terms of, I'd have to read whether or not, it really happened. But I read that Wonder Woman actually lost her powers to Clayface at one point in the comics.
I remember
because of the
that.
whole. You remember what?
I remember that vaguely, but not like details.
It was back during the time when her origin story was she was made out of clay.
Oh, yeah.
So Clayface pretty much just absorbed part of her.
Mm-hmm.
Copied all of her powers.
Wee.
Which I thought that was interesting, although weird. Speaking of which, I'm still waiting for Clayface to be CG'd into a movie. If they could do Sandman for Spider-Man, they could do Clayface for Batman.
Mm-hmm. Ooh. Now that we're working on some of the villains, they got Harley Quinn's movie coming out.
Yeah, that's...
my reaction almost exactly.
It's only because, dollar signs.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because I don't think Suicide Squad did well. At the very least,
yeah,
it
but
didn't,
everyone clamored with Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn. So, and if you notice, she's splitting away from Joker, and no one really liked Jared Leto as Joker. So,
yeah.
There's a reason why he's not in there.
Yeah.
And and if you also notice, there's a lot of new faces too. No Suicide Squad. It's her by herself with the Sirens?
Mm.
Or is it the wait, was it the Sirens? I forget now.
I also think Wonder Woman's going to be in that.
No, Black Canary, I think, if they're going to put a superhero or Huntress.
I saw a clip of something online. I wasn't really sure what I was looking at, but it looked like from the next movie or from that movie. I think it might have just been a cameo.
Yeah, I was about to say the only three I could think of that would be in there would be Barbara Gordon, aka Oracle. Catwoman could be possibly in there. Let's see, Poison Ivy,
Yeah,
because of the whole, girl on girl action between her and Harley.
the forced
They could
romance.
play that in there. Yeah,
Of course, that's an internet favorite right now.
yeah. The Huntress, of course, since she's the more kill 'em vigilante,
Hmm.
and then of course Black Canary, because I believe she was part of that team for a little bit.
I'd like to see the the CW show make a more of official cross into the DCEU. Because I've liked all those shows. Most of those shows, I should say.
Personally, I'd like to see DC expand their villain roster more.
Definitely. I think Swamp Thing. Wait, is Swamp Thing Marvel or DC?
I don't know that for a fact. I know it's Swamp Thing or what Man Thing or something like that. They're the polar opposites.
The Man
They're both
Thing.
plant-based people.
Yeah, I think Swamp Thing was DC because I remember Swamp Thing being with Ivy, being a friend of Ivy.
That was a cartoon, I believe, wasn't it?
Yeah.
She tried taking control of it or something of him.
Yep. He had a brain.
Yeah, I'm just getting tired of the same old, like, oh hey, Joker's the main villain for Batman, or it's Two-Face, or it's Riddler, Catwoman. Where's Mad Hatter? Where's Professor Pig? Bring in Hush. Onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia was a freaky one that I read about.
Yeah.
I really want to pick up those comics.
Friggin', I mean, heck, if they just want some fun with it, bring out the freaking puppet dude.
Oh, Ragdoll.
Yeah. Or Black Mask. Black Mask was fun too. Crime
I
Boss.
think he's going to be in Sirens.
Cool.
Of course, Clayface. I want to see. They could put Man-Bat in.
That's a tragic story right there.
Kurt Langstrom. Well, depending on which one you do.
Right, depending on which story you're pulling from.
Yeah. What else do they have in terms of Batman villains? Firefly / Phosphorus. There's a bunch of others.
I mean, Anarchy was a fun boss. Bad guy.
They should do an Azrael one where he's got to fight to get his cowl back.
Yeah. Kind of does make you wonder where they intend to take things from in the future.
Speaking of future, Batman Beyond, amazing series. So sad it got cut short.
Yeah. It's on Netflix. I think it was Netflix.
Yeah, it was. I don't know if it's still on there. They might have pulled it.
Yeah. We watched the whole series when it was on there.
I always watch it.
Yeah. It's good.
Let's see.
Oh, you want to talk about some good multiverse? Let's see the New 52 or the Flashpoint storylines. Ooh.
Oh yeah, Flashpoint Paradox.
Yeah, that one was a good one, but New 52 was one of my favorites too. It got us
Flash. Yeah. Got us what?
New 52 got us Bruce, not Bruce, but
Thomas Wayne.
yeah, as Batman, and his wife was the Joker.
Joker. Yep. I want to see that so badly in movie format.
Whoa, that would be so cool.
Yes, if they do it right.
Yeah, because of course, it could easily go bad.
Yeah. Speaking of which, what do you think of Mr. Robert Pattinson playing Bruce Wayne now?
I'm actually kind of a little hopeful. Because, I mean, we were all negative about Ben Affleck, and I'm like, I actually kind of liked him. But then again, I might
I'm
also.
still reserving. I'm still reserving judgment on that one. I have yet to see that, so we'll find out
I think
when
it's
I
kind of.
watch it.
I think it's kind of funny because lead up to the Justice League movie was all about hating on Ben Affleck's Batman, and then when we actually got into the movie, nobody was complaining about Ben Affleck anymore.
I heard the two big gripes about Ben Affleck's Batman is he cracked jokes, which he's not. Batman's not supposed to be jokey, and he used guns and killed people, and he's not supposed to touch guns, and he's not supposed to kill people.
Yeah, it was a bit more unforgiving in that, which was actually getting closer to the New 52 Batman, which was I was kind of got me all hopey and whatnot. Wee.
But the funny thing is, he doesn't want to kill them. He just wants to cause severe physical trauma.
Yeah. But then again, in my opinion, with the exception of like the inconsistencies with the jokes, I didn't really have too much of an issue with him. Because instead of being all one way or all the other, about halfway through the movie, he decided he wanted to be funny.
Oh wait, oh yeah, they did Ra's al Ghul. Never mind.
Yeah.
They say they could have done him, but Liam Neeson played a good Ra's al Ghul
I like that. Yeah. I mean, Liam
or
Neeson's.
Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah. Depending on who you ask.
Yeah.
But I think Liam Neeson played most anything really well.
Yeah.
All right. Do we want to switch over to sci-fi now?
Sure, we can do that.
All right. So, what do you like about sci-fi? Do you like sci-fi?
Oh, I love sci-fi. I like to see the general ideas of the creator of certain content. I want to see what they think our future is supposed to look like in their eyes.
Yeah, that's fun. Like the ideas of where our civilization is going to go, how we're going to get
Technology, how alien life looks if there is such thing as alien life in their stories.
Mm-hmm.
How we adapted to other culture, otherworldly cultures, such like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How we deal with those threats.
I've always been a big fan of that sort of stuff. Really opens up, really gets your noggin a jogging, as it were. Because there's a lot of possibilities in that area. Like one of the things I really like about sci-fi stuff myself is like again back to the horror aspect. Is learning the practicalities of certain things and how well certain things would work, and whether or not they actually could work.
Yeah. One of the more disappointing sci-fi / horror movies, by the way. I really wish that movie would have worked out better. The Rock Doom movie.
I mean, I still liked it.
I mean, I liked it too, but that whole scene at the end where it just pretty much is the game
Turned into the video game.
kind of it basically went from sci-fi horror to sci-fi comedy parody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Back into the video game. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about another thing that we've seen in like almost every franchise really, but sci-fi did it as well with overplayed, saturated friggin'
Tropes.
yeah, no, not tropes, the titles. The Terminator series in particular.
Oh yeah.
It was funny because I liked the first one. I loved the second one. One of the few times I actually enjoyed a sequel more than the original. And
Yeah, because they actually did the good thing and they improved upon it with technology and everything.
yeah. And then the third one, I'm like, what's the purpose of this movie? And I
Which one was
watched
the
it.
third one again?
I think the
Was
third
that the
one,
one with?
the female T
Oh
Terminator,
yeah.
and
Genesis? No, not Genesis.
friggin'
The Christian Bale one.
no, that was Salvation.
Salvation.
Yeah,
The prequel slash sequel.
yeah. That one, I didn't hate it, but that was definitely at the point where I was like, okay, stop
Yeah.
before you ruin it. And then Genesis came out, and I didn't even bother
Ruined it.
watching it.
Yeah, there's a problem when they deal with time travel. It gets murky quick,
Yeah.
and if you don't know how to lock that in, you end up screwing your entire story over.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why the time travel trope has the potential to be really good, but often ends up falling far too short for me.
Yeah,
Because I love the idea and the thought and the concept of time travel, but a lot of times they just do it without consequence, and that just makes it too easy to play with, and that just makes it so
Yeah.
you can mess up your timeline and everything. And they did it with Star Trek too, with the J.J. Abrams Star Treks, where they.
I actually kind of like that first one.
I'm not done yet.
Oh,
Yeah, it's like I didn't hate it, but then it just started moving itself too much away from Star Trek. And like the first one, I was like,
okay.
this is enjoyable. I like this. This is fun. And then time travel started messing with things, but not things that it should have affected, like the whole Khan aspect.
Ah.
Yeah. Although Benedict Cumberbatch did a pretty good Khan character.
Oh, I didn't know he was Khan.
Oh yeah, Into the Darkness. Into the Darkness.
I didn't see that one. I only saw the first one.
Yeah, it's a fun series. There's the new ones, the J.J. Abrams ones, are definitely fun, and I definitely enjoyed the first one, but
Uh-huh.
it just doesn't have the same feel anymore now that you know that like their time travel has very little effect on the world around them. Like they did time travel in 4.
Yeah, it's where they bring the whales back to Earth, right?
Yeah, and that's one of my favorite movies of the Star Trek
The
series.
journey was that Journey Home or something like that?
Yeah. I was thinking it was either Far From Home or Journey Home, but I think Far From Home is the Spider-Man movie. But the
Yeah,
Journey
that's the
Home,
more recent Spider-Man movie too.
yeah. But I love that one because they had to be careful because they mess with the timeline and they can mess everything up.
Yeah.
So there was like they never actually showed any of the consequences because we only did the time travel twice, once at the beginning and then
Yeah.
once at the end when we went home. But
Uh-huh.
at the same time, we felt like the pressure of we got to be careful. Of course, Bones and his his intervention was a little bit bad. What are you here for, sweetie? Dialysis. Dialysis. We live in a barbaric country. Here, just take this pill. Her kidney
Yeah.
grew back.
Oh yeah.
I gotta say though,
That's the that's the instance where he is the miracle worker on top of the physician.
yep. I'm a doctor, not a miracle. Oh wait. Yeah, it's like I love time travel as a theory, a concept, and everything, but it's just if you're gonna put it into your stories, you have to make it matter. It can't just be a frivolous thing that everyone can do.
The TV show Quantum Leap did it pretty well.
Yeah, I like that. He was tied to his own timeline, except for on occasions, and you know, he had to try to make things right, and it was like, yeah, that's fun. I like it. And the movie Time Cop was good too. With
I don't think I saw that one yet.
oh, it had Jean-Claude Van Damme in it, and
Oh, I might have seen that one.
yeah, if you like him or you don't, then my mom was a huge fan of Jean-Claude Van Damme, so we watched basically all of his movies.
Is it just because of the body?
Maybe. I never asked her because, quite frankly, that's not something I needed to know.
That's what I'm thinking it is.
As a martial artist myself now, I can appreciate it more. His form and whatnot is pretty darn good.
Getting off tangent, did you see one of the commercials he did?
Oh, the truck one?
Yeah, with the splits.
Yeah. It's funny you say commercial with Jean-Claude Van Damme. The first thing I think of is ouch.
Yeah, that's some pretty good form.
Yeah, so think about my favorite topics in sci-fi though.
Let's see, good sci-fi movies. Total Recall.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty good, and it also has the added effect of talking about like corporate greed, stuff like that, satire.
Yeah. Friggin' interaction with alien life.
Yep.
Terraforming a planet. Oof. Now, of course, we're talking about the Arnold Schwarzenegger version,
Yeah.
not the
The real version.
yeah. I like dystopian future stuff too.
Yeah, that could be good. Like
Yeah.
Mad Max kind of thing.
Yeah, Mad Max. Heck, even
Last of
1984.
Us.
Another one, Running Man. Another Schwarzenegger movie. I think I like to focus a lot on the ideas of the end of the world because I see pessimistic side of
Anything
me.
happening?
I see the world spiraling towards destruction.
Yeah, with those the Amazon burning and stuff like that.
Yeah, people switched from eBay to Amazon. Sorry, terrible joke. Oh, artificial intelligence and definition of humanity. That's a fun topic. That's a deep.
Artificial Intelligence, the movie, was a pretty decent movie too.
I haven't seen that one.
The Will Smith movie you have not seen?
Will Smith was in that one?
Blasphemy! You need to watch that movie.
We're not thinking of iAndroid, are we? Or
No,
Okay.
wait. Oh, iRobot.
iRobot,
I think
there
I
we
might
go.
be thinking about that one.
yeah, iRobot was really good though. I really liked that one.
I admit I was wrong.
That's okay. I haven't seen artificial intelligence, AI, the artificial intelligence. I haven't seen that one, but I have seen iRobot. I actually own it too. I need to watch it again. I haven't seen it in forever.
Have you? Growing up, one of my favorite. It was a comedy, sci-fi, Short Circuit.
No disassemble. No disassemble. Oh, I love that one. I think there was, 2 or 3 of those?
I think there was a fourth one actually.
Oh. Oh, no.
Yeah, that one was getting kind of.
Kind of getting to the point of oversaturated.
Yeah.
I like the first one and the second one, but I don't think I watched anything after that.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
Bicentennial Man was another really good one. Robin
Is that
Williams.
the Robin Williams? Oh
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah.
I mean, most anything based off Asimov stuff is pretty darn good.
Well, most of the stuff with Robin Williams of it is pretty darn good too.
This is true. Yes, this is true.
I don't think he ever starred in a flop.
No. I'd say the closest would be like just obscure movies, like 1 Hour Photo and Rewind or whatever the heck
Never,
that one was called.
never heard of him.
1 Hour Photo was a creepy. He was a bad guy in that one.
Oh, did he have like a stalker fetish kind of thing going with that movie?
Yeah, something like that.
Take photographs of some people.
Yeah, he was the photo developer working in the store, and
Wait, I think I might have seen this. Yeah, yeah, I know you're talking about. Yeah, yeah.
I'm trying to remember
we'll leave that.
I'm trying to remember the exact name of the other one. It was actually a sci-fi thriller type where people would record. Basically, they recorded their entire lives, and his job was to take their lives and boil down key moments to play on repeat on their tombstones. And
Oh wow.
as such, he would see some of the darkest sides of people's lives, and then he found somebody who he got somebody's chip that had seen something they weren't supposed to see, and so
Yeah,
kickstart the plot as they
Maybe-
try to kill him.
yeah. He became a person of interest kind of thing.
And there was even like black market situations where they were removing people's chips because they didn't want their lives
Yeah.
recorded anymore. Wee. Yeah, that one was a really
What
good one.
genre were we on again?
Sci-fi.
Sorry, I'm mind blanking. Sci-fi.
Yeah.
Sci-fi horror. Event Horizon.
Oh, still one of my favorite horror movies.
Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah, that dude's awesome.
Yes. Oh, sci-fi. If you want to keep saying Lawrence Fishburne, you know,
The obvious
throwing
Matrix.
some with some Keanu Reeves action,
Mhm.
which also for fantasy, Constantine. That was a good one.
Yeah, Constantine's definitely one of my favorites. He's a superhero movie, technically, too.
Yeah. Isn't he DC now?
Yes. Actually, he was on Legends of Tomorrow on the show on CW. So I'm not really a particular fan of his character on that show.
I know he was made into one of the DC animated movies. It was Justice League Dark.
Ooh, neat. Okay, we're not going to have enough time to branch into fantasy, but maybe we'll do another video on it later on. But I do want to mention one of the most unexpected, but unexpectedly good fantasy portrayals from Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
The movie Legend. That movie is a legend.
Legend? I don't think I've ever heard of that one.
Oh, it's freaking Tim Curry, Tom Cruise, some girl whose name I should really remember right now but can't. Unicorns, demons, freaking epic. They remade it. Well, they didn't remake it. They remastered it at one point, and they removed. They changed the song in the end because spoiler alert if you're interested. Friggin' he dives into the water to get the ring for his love once again, and the original version of the movie had this like really great music playing over it, and then they remastered it and changed the music at the end, and it just really messed up the whole scene for me. I just couldn't enjoy it anymore. And it's like the original version got my heart all thumping, got tears, misting in my eyes. I was like, ah! And then the new version, I was like, they messed up the song. The song doesn't fit at all. It's like the original was just instrumental, and then the new one had words and stuff over it. And I'm like, ugh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate change. But I think we have to call this for now because we've been going over an hour now.
Yeah, hour and a half actually.
Yeah. How'd your stream hold up?
I don't think it broke at all,
Well, that's cool.
which is weird.
Yeah.
Go figure. I mean, the video looks pretty crappy. It's kind of grainy, but
Yeah, it happens. Stupid happening.
yeah.
But anyway, we would like to say thank you all so much for joining us for this episode of the Babbling Beards podcast. Hopefully we'll be able to pick this up at another time to carry on with fantasy and other genre. I think we could probably scruff out 3 more to turn into another podcast.
We could always do micro genres as well.
Yeah. I mean, fantasy itself has about 10 billion different micro fantasy or micro genre, subgenre.
Yeah.
But anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah. If you enjoyed
Do an
this,
outro, buddy.
yeah, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and poke that like button for us. If you'd like to see more from us, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And of course, as always, you're more than welcome to leave a comment down in the comment section down below, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can, when we can, if we can. You know, all that jazz. And tune in next time as we discuss another topic at another time. And until then, sir.
Until then, we will see you all then. Later.
And we'll catch you later. Bye.